Major funding for this program was provided by the Annenberg CPB project.
You've got some good ideas, but just not there yet.
Not there?
Mm-mm.
Well, what's the matter with it, Jenny?
Why don't you try reading it out loud? That always helps me.
Okay. Why write? We write because writing is important. Whether we're writing a novel or just a check, writing is something we have to be able to do. Throughout history, writing has been a sign of civilization. Whether you're writing for yourself or others, writing is a way of understanding life's problems. It's a way of putting our thoughts on paper.
Does that help you see the problem?
Well, I used the first person and the second person, we're and you're in the same paragraph. I'll need to fix that, but that's minor.
What about this sentence about civilization?
Doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of it, does it?
Mm-mm. Also, it's just not to the point. I mean, writing is a sign of civilization, but that's not why someone should learn to write. I think this program should tell students very clearly why writing's important to them.
And that's what this doesn't do.
Well, not yet. When do you need to finish it?
Day after tomorrow. It's the introduction to the whole program. Why did Gwen give it to me anyway?
Probably because she thinks you can do it.
Well, I'm afraid she's going to be very disappointed. Because I'm just not a writer yet.
Oh, Cassie, if you write, you're a writer.
Not a real one like the three of you.
You mean you're not a professional writer, but that's not the same thing as being real. Hey, Cassie. What's the matter? It's more than just this introduction, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just not working out, Jenny. That's what's the matter.
Whatever gave you that idea?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, I'm not clever with words like Norm. I can't come up with ideas like you. And Gwen has forgotten more than I will ever know. I guess I'm really just a drag on you guys.
Oh, that's not true. Cassie, you need to get this thing in perspective. I mean, when the three of us were your age, we were just...
You were way ahead of me. See, it's not just a matter of age, Jenny. Writing is a knack. Either you have it or you don't.
Writing is a craft that can be learned. That's what you're doing now. And that's what this telecourse is all about. You may not be a midnight novelist like Norm, but you can learn to write clear, interesting prose.
Don't think I haven't tried. I would give my eye teeth just to hear Norm say just once, I couldn't have put it better. Guess I'm just not in the same league.
You're not in competition with Norm, only with yourself. How you improve from day to day, that's the only true competition.
Jenny, how can I contribute to a course on how to write when I don't even know how myself?
It's an advantage. Makes you aware of things the rest of us just take for granted. Cassie, I think you're doing what a lot of student writers do.
What's that?
You're letting writing intimidate you.
It is intimidating. Sometimes I feel like I just can't do it.
Well, who doesn't sometimes? But you've got to hang in there.
I don't think so, Jenny. I really think this project would be better off without me.
Hey, what are you talking about? Are you thinking of quitting?
Yeah. I was going to give myself until Friday when the project was due to make up my mind.
Hey, you're serious about this, aren't you? Well, what about your grant money? You just going to give it up?
I'll have to. Can't do the work. I'll find a job somewhere else. See, I think that money should go to somebody who can contribute.
Cassie, I sure wish you'd talk to Gwen before you make up your mind.
No, this is something I've got to decide for myself. And you have got to promise me that you won't tell anybody else.
Okay, I promise. But I sure hope you don't quit. We need you.
This needs work, Cassie.
Well, I know it needs work, Norm. That's why I asked you to look at it.
Well, try reading it out loud. Sometimes it helps me.
Okay. Why write? There are as many reasons as there are people. Some people write because words are important tools. Writing is vital in business and in school. Writing is also a way of looking at life. Some people write to sort out what's important from what isn't. For some others, writing is a way of thinking on paper. Sometimes, writing helps them come up to conclusions and decisions.
So? Well, that's it.
Oh, well, it has too many psalms in there.
That's minor. What else?
It's not as vague as my first draft, but it's still not clear, is it?
True. You have several good ideas, Cassie, but they're all pushed together in one paragraph. They're not clear because none of them are developed.
They're not clear because I'm not. I guess I should have thought about them a little bit more before I started.
No, not necessarily. Oh, sure, it helps to have notes and to do an outline, but there's just so much thinking that you can do in your head.
What do you mean?
Well, writing itself can be a way of thinking. The very act of writing or typing something can clarify your thought.
My thoughts sure do need clarifying.
When's that due?
Tomorrow. Remember, we've got this big meeting Friday.
All right, to put together the program. Well, at least you have time to do a couple of more drafts. Look, try breaking it up into paragraphs. That ought to help. Anything else I can do?
No, thanks, Norm.
Oh, by the way, Cassie, we're almost out of coffee. Monday, it's your turn to bring in a can, okay?
Oh, okay. If I'm still here.
Good morning, Cassie.
Morning, Cassie.
Why, you're here early today.
Mornings are always good for writing. The early bird catches the word.
Norm, did you finish editing the interview segments for today?
Oh, of course, and I have them on a master tape.
Good, good. Why don't you get that ready, and as soon as Jenny gets here, we'll start.
Well, in that case, we have at least a half an hour before...
Morning, all.
Well, hush my mouth. What are you doing here?
I work here.
Never before 9:30.
I lent you my 3 kids one morning. We'll see how early you get to work.
Break it up, you two. We've got a full day ahead of us. Well, the first item of business is a planning session for this program.
And that is why write.
That's right. Cassie, how's your introduction coming?
I'm through with it.
Good.
Oh, let's hear it.
Now, let's hold off on that, Jenny, please. First, I'd like to see the interview segments.
Writing is essentially communication on paper, and it's meant to be shared. And the most wonderful thing that happens to writers is when they realize when someone else says, hey, that is good. I couldn't have said it better. Or, I never thought of it that way. Or, you wrote this. And that is what really helps a writer feel like it's worth it. It does take time. Writing is hard work, but it's molding work, it's sculpturing work. And the difference, you asked about math. There's a difference. Getting it right is possible in math. there is one right answer. 2 and 2 are 4. But in writing, there's so many wonderful variations of how any one thing can be said, all of which are correct, but different, that it makes writing a wonderful art and a very creative act, no matter what the topic is.
One of the things that I tell my students is that language is power. And when one comes to understand what that really means, one is talking about the achievement through learning to write and to speak and communicate, a personal kind of proficiency as an individual as he operates within a particular society.
Writing in franchises. Writing gives the writer a voice. Our concept of democracy is built on the notion that we can all participate, that we can converse with each other, that we can listen and learn and understand and then contribute. Writing makes it possible for people to have a voice in the society.
There's more. I just thought you might have some comments on what you've seen so far.
Good choices, Norm. Cassie, any comments?
Well, when they talk about language being power and writing in franchising, those are wonderful thoughts, but they seem sort of abstract.
Abstract?
Well, I guess what I mean is, what do they have to do with the college students like me?
Language's power is a way of saying that writing is an ability essential to getting through life.
To get through school, you have to be able to write papers. And the better you write, the better you do. Most jobs have a certain amount of paperwork. Some have a lot. Being able to handle that is power.
Writing in franchises is another way of saying that people that can write well have a political power. You could write a note to the editor, or an appeal to the zoning commission, or a handout for an upcoming election.
But I think one of the main points we need to emphasize to our students is that
Writing is a practical ability.
Right. Writing empowers us to get things done in life. That could be as important as your grant application or as simple as a party invitation.
But writing is more than words just strung together. It's words organized in a certain way to express something to someone else. As a matter of fact, that's the next point coming up on the tape.
Writing is primarily a way to connect. It's a way to connect the writer with the reader. It's a way to connect information in one course to information in another. It's a way to connect yourself with the past and the future. When you read something that was written 100 years ago, you're connected through that writing to the past. When you write something that can be read when you're not there, you're making connections over geographic boundaries and also over the boundaries of time.
That's why I write. To connect, to make contact, to put my thoughts and feelings into a book that would reach thousands of people. If they'd only buy my book.
The need to communicate is maybe the most obvious reason to write, but there are others. Did you include the Janice Lauer interview, Norm?
Coming right up.
Writers can, if they engage in the process fully, come to new understandings about many things, their own personal experiences, their interaction with their public worlds in which they exist. They can reach new understandings in the academic world, they're in the student world, and in their professional lives. And this makes writing far more, I guess you would call it, exciting experience, because the writer sees that he or she has a chance to stop the world and to raise really important questions and to explore thoroughly and imaginatively and deeply and to come up with new understandings and new insights. It's a eureka experience for the writer if the writer uses the opportunity to make it such.
That says it very nicely. Writing can be a tool for discovery.
Yeah, sort of a way of finding out things you didn't know you knew.
Mm-hmm. Humanistic writing can be as much for yourself as for others.
Oops. You just lost me.
That's writing that stresses human values.
A complaint to your landlord is practical writing, but, your application for the grant involved humanistic writing.
It did?
Sure. You had to explain how the grant would be good, not just for you, but for society.
What did you say in your application, Cassie?
Well, I just said that I could contribute my own unique perspective and experiences to this project.
Well, it's a good thing your application was accepted. For us.
It certainly is. I don't know what we'd do without you, Cassie.
What is this? Be kind to Cassie Day or something? Let's get back. What's going on? Oh, no.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
He's pretty big, all right, but Gwen said to make him exercise.
You guys, what's a Waldo?
It's a trash barrel, my dear. We had one at the agency, just like it, where Gwen and I used to work. It's Gwen's subtle way of saying the key to good writing is rewriting and rewriting and rewriting.
Well, he'll never be hungry as long as I'm around. Here. Have a snack, big fella.
Thanks again, Fred. Come on, we've got to get back to work.
Oh, what you working on, huh? Oh, what you working on, Norm?
Oh, why write?
Big question.
How would you answer that, Fred?
You're asking the wrong fella. I don't accept the checks.
Probably write more than you think.
You don't know my salary.
Yeah? Yeah. When was the last time you wrote a proposal? Or a personnel evaluation? Or a budget breakdown?
Oh, you call that writing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just thought about it as part of my job.
That's my point.
What?
Practical writing is part of most jobs. And you probably write for personal reasons, too.
Huh?
Personal reasons, too.
Huh? Like what?
Like letters.
No. When I want to get in touch, I pick up the phone.
You never write personal messages, Freddie?
On Christmas cards, maybe. You know, sometimes I put drawings on the cards. I'm one of those guys that thinks that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Jenny, it's done.
Oh, great, Fred. Thanks. Any problems?
Oh, we had to do a little digging to come up with some of the illustrations that you wanted, but we found them, and we put in a few of our own.
Oh, I can't wait to see them. Norm, are you through with the interview segment?
No, but we can see what you got there if you want. Should I put it on?
Would you?
What is it anyway?
Oh, it's my contribution to the show. Fred in the art department helped me put it together, and Gwen.
And what's it about?
It's about writing as a fine art. With all due respect to Fred, there are some things words can do that even 1,000 pictures can't.
Anytime, Jenny.
Oh, roll 'em.
Mm-hmm.
Each art is a search for form. Each speaks its own language to its own audience. But the written word communicates in a way special to itself alone. Dance is the language of the body. In it, the dancer finds form through movement, gesture, and step. It is beauty expressed in human grace. Painting is the language of light. In it, the painter finds form through color and shape. A landscape, a still life, life observed, or the human face. Painting is the world seen through the painter's eyes. Music is the language of sound. In it, the musician finds form through instruments of wood and string and wind. It is ever-changing, for each era creates the music of its time. It is ancient, modern, and forever. Writing is language itself. In it, the writer finds form through words. It is the art we use to explore and express ourselves, our lives, our works, and all other arts. Through plain marks on white paper, it reaches through time and space to unite writer and readers in a shared humanity. No other art can so embrace all of experience.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity. That was very effective, Jenny. Excellent visuals, Fred. The art department has done another outstanding job.
Oh, thanks, Gwen. It's all in a day's work, and work is what I'd better be getting back to. So long, Waldo. I know I'm leaving you in good hands.
Bye, Fred.
Bye, Fred. Thanks again.
Good job, Jenny. Even though there are a couple of places that can use a little polishing up.
Oh, such as?
Well,
It's
such
more than satisfactory, Jenny. I don't see the need to change any of it. Norm, I'm very anxious to see the rest of your tape.
And you'd like to see it now. Ready?
Ready.
A good deal of contemporary writing research tells us that writing is not just something that happens after you think an idea, but it's part of the process of thinking that idea.
The standard advice used to be think about what you're going to say and then write. And that's just not the way things work. Time and again, in my observation of my own composing, as one reads introspective accounts from other writers, that's just not what happens. You don't think and then write. What you do is to begin writing, and even the act of writing itself begins to make ideas form, ideas take shape, and you quite frequently will end up saying something different from what you meant to, what you knew at the outset you were going to say.
The point is how to use language as an instrument of knowing, how writing down, recording, listening in on your thoughts, making statements, unmaking statements, revising them, writing poems, that all of that use of language deliberately and consciously and saying, what am I doing, what meaning am I making, is really, any philosopher would tell you, a way of coming to know your knowledge.
Good job, Norm. Even though there are a couple of places that could use a little polishing.
The point remains that to write clearly, you have to think clearly, but one doesn't necessarily come before the other.
Writing is a way of becoming aware of one's own knowledge.
Well, that sounds a little impersonal.
Well, let me put it personally then. Learning is something that never stops. I know more today than I knew yesterday, and because of that, I'm a better writer. In the same way, through my writing, I've learned more, and that makes me a better writer.
I wonder how long that'll take me.
To become a better writer? Oh, not as long as you seem to think. You've learned a great deal since you started, even though you mightn't realize it. And we have learned even more from you.
You have?
Yes, you put us in touch with people who aren't professional writers, but want to learn how to write, but think that the ability to write is
some gift from the gods.
Yes, either something you have or you don't have. For some students, writing is an ordeal.
You're telling me. If it's not an ordeal, what is it then?
It's a process, like thinking.
But it isn't a brain game. It involves all of you. It's a craft. Some people may be better at it than others, but if you want to, you can learn to do it.
Go back a minute or so. What do you mean it involves all of you?
Ah, the perfect question for our last interview.
I think writing involves an entire person, the people write, not just brains or intellect. And so when I teach writing, I direct people or students to think about, it's too simple to say how are you feeling, but to take into account all of their experiences and what's going on for them, not reduce writing just to a cognitive or an intellectual act. I think it's more than that.
Does that answer your question, Cassie?
Yeah. She says that when you write, you draw on your memories and your opinions and everything in your life. What you write is who you are.
To some extent. I think now would be a good time to hear your introduction. Why don't you read it to us?
Okay, but first, there's something I'd like to say. A couple of days or so ago, I thought about leaving this job. Well, not because I'm unhappy with the work or with any of you guys, but because I thought I just couldn't do it.
Oh, well, what do you think now?
Well, I'm still not sure I can do it, but I thought I would quit or stay depending on what you thought about what I wrote today. I know that's wrong, though, now. I realize that. If my introduction or anything else of mine needs work, I'll just stick to it. See, I know now that writing is not some gift from the gods. It's a skill. If I can think, I can write. It just takes some effort. And I'm not going to quit just because of some hard work. In fact, I'm not going to quit at all.
Atta girl.
I'm very pleased with your decision, Cassie. But the next time you have a problem, please come and talk to me, okay?
Okay.
Well, now that you got that mouthful out, let's hear your masterpiece.
Well, it's not a masterpiece, and you have to promise me if it's no good, you're going to help me some more.
I promise, I promise. Now, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, now, it's not a finished product.
Cassie,
I mean, I can...
Cassie, I say this from the bottom of my heart. If I don't like it, I'll tear it to shreds. Now, read.
Ooh. Why write? There are as many answers as there are writers. People are different, and their reasons for writing are too. But there are at least 3 reasons that everyone shares. First, writing is an important skill. At home, at school, or at work, we need to be able to write. Whether it's a Christmas card, a term paper, or a report to the boss, writing is a vital tool. Second, writing is a way of learning. It's a way of making sense of the world. When we write, we discover things about our lives, about others, and about ourselves. Anytime we write, we grow a little. Finally, we write because putting words on paper means putting our thoughts into words. Whether we're writing for personal reasons or practical ones, a letter or a lab report, writing helps us think things through, even change our minds. Sometimes we need to see what we say before we know what we think.
Hey, that's good enough to be something that I wrote.
What Norm means is, he couldn't have put it better.
I didn't say that, but it is pretty good. Let me see it, Cassie.
What do you think, Gwen?
Well, I think it needs a little work, but only a little. It's quite satisfactory, Cassie.
I like it.
So do I. It sets up the basic reasons for writing very clearly. It's not at all foggy the way the other draft you showed me was.
Well, I had to go through 3 versions before I got there, but I learned an awful lot doing it.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Who knows, Cassie? You may get there yet. You know, you may even end up writing a novel one day.
Oh, I don't know, Norm. Besides, I don't want to. I'll leave that to you.
You never can tell.
No, I'm not clever with words like you, or full of ideas like Jenny, or for that matter, I don't even know half as much as Gwen. What's this?
A badge and a reminder. The next time you feel the urge to quit or apologize, remember that.
Major funding for this program was provided by the Annenberg CPB project.